You know, Scott, a lot of people, what bothers me about the vets and people that are going in, and I like horse owners to know this. When you start involving vets to come out to write prescription, you got to pay them a farm call, and then you pay a shoer. This is bringing a lot of cost on horse owners, and I get a lot of complaints because this is our trade in our field, and this is how these boys make their living out there shoeing. And then when you get somebody start coming in there to go out to write a prescription for a corrective shoe that ain't took 1 minute of training on shoes. There's over 1,000 different types of shoes, probably more than that, and many more corrective shoes. And these boys go to school, many of them, they're professional, and it's easy to ask for a certification card and ask what the shoe does. And if they don't know, they'll call the research center, a lot of them. And gang, we have run, and we'll show some pictures here, the corrective shoes, different ones that we have ran on a track, and just to give you an example. We have built shoes, we run them, we put it in slow motion, we measure the depth. You can see there on the tracks that we've run for years when we actually started studying what these shoes do and how they change the motion or help the horse.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, Scott, you and I were at Cornell University, 10 years ago, and we was talking about we just had to figure out what an egg bar shoe does. Yeah. And, you know, everybody thinks, well, an egg bar shoe, it gives the horse support. In reality, what an egg bar shoe does, it makes the horse hit more flat. So if he's got a heel problem, navicular or something, egg bar is a good shoe because you just don't jam his heel down. Because a horse, well, let's look at some conformation here. And you can see, Scott, when you start looking, if you're cowhocked or toed out, most of the time you're going to break over to the inside toe. And here we're showing a person, same as a horse, breaks over on the inside toe, wings in and lands on the outside heel. But if we got an egg bar, it hits flat, and we can prove that. Now the research center has been here 15 years, and Scott, you've been a lot of help. You participated, you donated your time, your money. How has it helped you?
Well, we've done a lot of studies. We've tested a lot of new products, and that's kind of the point I wanted to make. You've got horse trainers out there and grooms. You've got all kind of people trimming horses and shoeing horses, and it might be a good idea to take an anatomy course if you're going to nail a horseshoe on or trim his hoof, you know, and in addition to all the work that we've done here.
You know, the one thing that we're recommending, and the research center put it out, is the grammar school. They can order the disc, and it's great. It's an hour, about an hour long, maybe longer. It's the grammar school of trimming and shoeing a horse. It gives horse owners, veterinary, anybody that wants it, they'll see there's a heck of a lot more of farrier science than they thought.
Yeah.
And this is just the grammar school part. It don't touch on everything. And so the person, you know, when we started doing horse owner clinics and we're out there, and I'd ask questions, and we started documenting it. I'd ask horse owners, who do you think the expert in farrier science? And a lot of them would say veterinarian. When a veterinarian don't know the first thing about shoeing or trimming, they don't take it in school, they don't know their anatomy is one thing I found out.
Yeah.
But the point is, they're stepping over in another field. Farrier science belongs to the farrier, and in reality, it should stay there. Because I don't know if a veterinarian wants to shoe a horse. Maybe a couple that wants to do it, but I've looked at some of the work, it don't look too good. I wouldn't want to shoe and trim my horse. But in reality, what we're trying to do, gang, we're not trying to throw off on veterinarians, we're not trying to throw off on horse trainers. We just want you, the viewer, to understand the farrier is the expert. We want you to be educated about the farrier's work, and we want you to have a fundamental grammar school education. That way you can communicate with your farrier and see if you're talking to a guy that went to school.
Yeah.
People used to ask me, Scott, you know, say, what's a good question to ask the farrier? This was years ago. I said, well, ask him where he went to school. And if he said, most of them will say, I went to Oklahoma. Which school did you go to? There was 3 schools in Oklahoma, and he don't know what school he went to. You bet your boots he didn't go to school. But if you got any tips, you're out there now, to horse owners to keep their horse sound and working. I know you was talking not long ago, you was telling me there's a lot of horses you shoes 35, 40 years old that's still usable, that they have take care of, and so on and so forth. What's some good tips?
Well, one of the things that kind of put me onto this was I would come out and do a horse for the first time, and the owner would say, "How long do I have to wait before I can ride him?" And I didn't know what they were talking about, and they would tell me stories about having to stall the horse up for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks before they could ride the horse. Well, that's not the horse. That's whoever did the trimming or shoeing, you know? So we've got a problem.
You got a problem with whoever's doing it.
Yeah.
And a lot of folks out there, and gang, I always say this, and we were brought up this way, and I know you were too. You get what you pay for, and most of the time.
Yeah.
And if it's too good to be true,
Probably
most of the time, you ain't getting nothing. But anyway, the thing I wanted to point out, and we'll show that, we got a lot of horses that come in here. You can see they're limping in here, a lot of them. A lot of horses have been abused. Simply, when I say abused, I don't mean hit over the head. I mean a lot of, when you don't take care of those horses' hooves, they're abused. And you can see they limp in here. We've had some, we had to pull off a trailer where somebody that didn't know what they was doing and nipped too much foot, lamed the horse. And I mean just one lame horse after another. And it's shocking, the stuff that's come in. But anyway, before we get too far, I wanted to show this, and we're going to look at the treadmill. And we're going to look at a horse, Scott, and with the thermo, when a horse, and this is just common sense, but a lot of times you got to, I guess a lot of people from Missouri, you got to show them. But the point is, when you start going barefooted without shoes and you're walking on a pavement or you create friction.
Yeah.
And by doing that, your feet, especially if you walk across rocks, you're going to hurt. Horse, they think a horse foot made out of steel. But when a horse walks, and you see there, I got my son on the treadmill, and he's running. We're doing the thermo imaging, and his feet heated up just instantly. Well, we found out with a horse's hoof, and we've known this out west for years, that foot gets real hard because of dry climate. And you take one of those little torches, soldering torches, and heat the foot, it peels right out. Because when it's soft or heated up, it wears out real quick. Well, let's take a look at an old shoe. You can see here natural versus unnatural, and those are my old shoes, wore down on the heel. Well, if you heated that and started walking, it'd wear down a lot quicker. So sometimes I think horse owners need to use what we all call common sense. And the thing about it is, that's 80%, and really, Scott, you could say it's 100%, because you got $1 million horse and he can't walk, you ain't got a horse.
That's right.
You got $1 million lame horse.
Your lawn ornament.
Yeah, exactly, and he ain't gonna do anything. So anyway, gang, we're talking to Scott Ledbetter from Atlanta. Scott's a seasoned farrier, certified master farrier, and believe me, Scott's in our Hall of Fame, or Horseshoeing Hall of Fame, and you shot at the Atlantic Olympics as well.
Yeah, 96.
In 96. Hang with us, gang. We're going to be right back. We're talking to Scott Ledbetter. We're going to have we had a good show. We're talking about something that's going around our country today that a lot of us farriers are really not pleased with, and that's trimming horses when some of them needs to be shot. If you trim brood mares because they ain't doing anything, and they even have to be trimmed. But when you're going to ride horses, you definitely need to shoe them, because here's the thing. Those horses out in the wild, ain't nobody riding them. And only the strong survive. Hang with us, go by the refrigerator, we'll be right back. Hey gang, I'm Ralph Casey.
And I'm Link Casey.
You know, 15 years of research here at the Research Center. We've got something every horse owner that ever owned a horse, or you're going to buy a horse, you definitely need. And here's some of the things you're going to learn, gang, that's important that you should know about the Grammar School of Shoeing and Trimming. You're going to learn what causes stumbling, overreaching, elbow hitting, forging or clicking, crossfiring, scapping, and the most dangerous, speed cutting. And guess what, gang? It's going to show everything that your farrier should know, or you should know about your horse, and here it is. It's a DVD free for the asking. Every horse owner can get this, or farrier, or anybody out there. It's free. You can see the number right there on the screen, gang, and we're encouraging you to get it. It's going to be something you're just going to cherish from now on. Thank you.